Excuse the mess. We're in the middle of some construction again here. I wanted to do 10 reasons I like being a vegan in no particular order. So the first one, I'm just, like I said, no particular order, is kind of like you've heard of global warming and whatnot, and some people think it's a hoax, but like a majority of scientists and stuff say that it's caused by human action. And one of the big factors is the CO2 emissions from all the feedlots and whatnot. Now you're like, yeah, animals produce methane, like that's just a fact of life, and other things balance it out, like the trees and whatnot. But the thing is, the animals used to be like out grazing on grass and whatnot, and that's what like cattle and a lot of these things, their stomachs were designed for. But our corn industry has just gone nuts. Like most farmers just like make soybeans and corn now because that's what they make the most money at. So we've become like monocultural crops instead of like a whole bunch of different crops with variety. If you read the book Omnivore's Dilemma, you'll see a lot of what's going on. And there's guys out there like Joe Salatin that are doing the opposite, that are like growing a whole bunch of stuff, and he calls himself a grass farmer, and what he's doing is making the soil fertile again, and it's in balance with nature. It's really awesome. But that's not what big business is doing. And anyway, because they're making all this corn, first of all, they're making advertisements trying to get people to eat more and whatnot, but they feed it to the cattle because they have to do something with it. And the cattle, their stomach isn't designed for that, so it makes them make a whole lot more emissions than they used to. Like when they ate grass and stuff, they wouldn't have nearly as much, and they would burp more and stuff, and it was just totally different. Like, so the figures out there vary a lot. You'll hear some vegan channels say stuff as high as 52%. You'll hear a lot of people claim like 20 to 30%. There was a recent study where, I don't remember, it was like something like 13%, maybe. Is way lower than all the numbers being thrown out, and they're like, it's still a big deal, but don't let that make people say what you're saying is bogus and whatnot. But the point is, regardless of what the real percentage is, it is a real thing. It is contributing to this, and so that's one reason to go vegan. Then another is, you've probably heard that they tear a lot of the rainforest down, and one of the reasons is that there's a lot of money in cattle. So, you know, people are just desperate. They're just trying to make a living. So they go and they tear this rainforest down, which has all these unique plants and ecosystems and stuff. It's a place where we could get a lot of cures and create new medicines and stuff if we left it intact and kept exploring things. But instead it gets torn down. And it's because these people need to make a living, and raising cattle makes a lot of money, but then it only lasts so long and everything gets depleted and they have to move on, so then they tear down more. So when you're not supporting the meat industry, you're not supporting tearing down the rainforest. So that's another really good reason. And then there's water conservation. Like, it's extremely inefficient to raise livestock. Like, it takes way less water to just grow crops and all the like fruits and vegetables and stuff we need than it does to raise animals. Animals go through so much water. I mean, obviously we go through a lot of water too, and there's a lot of us, but this hits it even more. So it's good for water efficiency. And then it's also good for stepping on all that construction stuff. It's good for food efficiency. Like, you have to grow way less like fruits and vegetables to feed us than you have to grow to feed these animals, which then feed us. So we wouldn't have to waste as much space for food if we were just growing food for us instead of growing food for us and the food we eat. So it makes sense that way. It's efficient, and it's also efficient for land space, which is basically kind of what I just said, but it's good for food efficiency and land efficiency. Obviously, there's the cruelty thing, like not just the animals getting killed, but like, you know, the people that go to the health food stores and get all this grass-fed stuff are at least helping out in that the stuff they're getting probably lives more of a normal life it was meant to live and then just gets killed at the end. But the big, huge meat industry is all about profit. And so they do things as efficiently as possible. And it makes for a miserable life for the creatures. And I know that nature's harsh and life isn't good in the wild. Like, something's always trying to kill you and you're always trying to get food. So I'm not going to live in a silly ideological la-la land like some people. But at least these things get to live the way they were meant to live. Like, they have a fighting chance. If they don't get food and starve to death, it's their fault for not doing what they were designed to do. If they get caught by something, it's their fault, or else the other creature was just really, really good. But regardless, they had a chance. Like, the way it's set up now, they're just like all herded into little feedlots that are just nasty and full of bacteria because they're all too close together and they're in their own fecal matter, and they have to get shot up with all kinds of antibodies because they're getting fed stuff they're not supposed to eat, and they're all too close together. And it's just, it wouldn't be a pleasant way to live. Like, plus I think they're a lot less mobile than they are in their normal everyday wildlife. So, like, again, if you see someone like Joe Salatin, he actually lets the animals have space and do their things. So there's good farmers out there, but you know, big business in America, it's all about the bottom line, and it makes us stop worrying about qualities. Like, so that's another reason. And another reason is the hormones and stuff that they have to inject in them, and all the antibodies to keep them from dying, and also to make them grow really, really fast. They inject them with a lot of stuff because it makes them grow like 6 times as fast or something. So the faster they grow, the faster they can butcher them and sell them and make money on the meat. So it makes their lives even shorter. So that's not good for you, and it makes the animal have an even shorter life. And then the health aspects is another good reason to go vegan, because I told you how when I was studying all the people that seem to thrive as they get older, the common denominator is they seem to eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. Regardless of whether they're vegan or not, that seems to be a thing. And so if you're vegan and you're not having all this calorically dense meat, you have a better chance to get more fresh fruits and vegetables in your diet. Now, granted, you could be a bad vegan and just like have French fries and vegan pizzas and chips and vegan Oreos and all kinds of other junk, and your health is gonna suck. You'll be sickly, but the opportunities there. Like, I know there's people that eat healthy, balanced diets anyway, even if they have meat. But I'm just saying it's easier when you're not eating meat to have more fruits and vegetables. If you watch Brian Turner's channel, it'll give you a good idea, like how much it's changed his life, and a lot of people find it to be similar in their case. So, of course, there's the whole nothing has to die aspect, which is a big, huge factor in a lot of people becoming vegan, I would imagine. And I like that one too. And then the last one is the first-hand source of energy. It's just like, to me in Kung Fu, the closer you can get to the source, like the Grandmaster, the better, because like it just seems like the knowledge is even better and more pure, and there's more insights the closer and closer you get to that, which is why I was so insanely happy in my own personal life when I found one of the Grandmaster's direct disciples. It's like, wow, I lucked out here. So it's the same way with this. Like, pretty much all the energy on Earth comes from the sun, and plants do photosynthesis and create like all this stuff that then the animals go and eat. So if you eat the plants directly instead of the animals, you're getting like a first-hand energy source pretty much, or maybe you could call it second-hand. The plants are getting the first-hand source from the direct sunlight, but it's still closer than the animal, which was one more step removed. So that's got to be good. So those are the 10 reasons that I like being vegan, and 10 reasons that you might enjoy too if you consider changing.